Hi, thank you for joining me. Thank you for being a subscriber. This week's practices include, the theme is balance, and this is the dynamic practice. I'm calling it, I Could Take the Balance. It's based off of a line from an Emily Dickinson poem. The props we're going to use, strap, block if you have it, and also depending on your level of confidence, you might want to be near a wall or a piece of large furniture to facilitate balance. Part of what's so frustrating about balance is the fact that you really sometimes can't see your progress. If you're very tight and you stretch every day, you can see that process of opening up over a period of weeks and months and years sometimes. And same thing with strength. So maybe you can hold plank for 15 seconds 1 week, and you practice plank diligently, and in 4 or 5 weeks you're 30 seconds, 45 seconds. Balance isn't like that. If you're 10% of the way there, you're going to fall. And so you practice and practice and practice, and then you're 50, 60, 70% of the way there, you're still going to fall. Really, you're only in balance once that balance tachometer flips over from 90 to 100. So one way I've come up with to take the frustration out of the balance practice is by coming up with some visualizations and some vocabulary for our balance practice. So I would like to take a look at this board here. So if you're familiar with Tadasana, right, it's one of the basic standing postures in our practice, mountain pose. So this is what Tadasana looks like in terms of your base of support on the floor. So just a couple terms. We have our base of support, and the base of support, I'm going to draw it here. The base of support is in our right foot and our left foot, and it's in the entire area in between the feet. So we kind of circle that around here. So everywhere within this red line that I've drawn is a base of support. So say your center of balance in Tadasana, also called Samastitihi, equal standing. Your center of gravity can be right in the middle. And with some sway, that center of gravity can also go into the left foot or the right foot. It can kind of be anywhere within this red line. So to demonstrate, I'm taking Tadasana. Right here I feel my center of gravity is right in the middle. If I shift to my right, now the dot's more like over here in my right foot. If I shift to the left, it's in my left foot. If I go forward, if I go back, as long as I'm within the bounds of my base of support, I won't fall over. So not only do we have one foot, the other foot, we have 100% of our feet on the floor, and look how much space we have. What happens when we take one foot off the ground? So let's just eliminate the left leg here, left foot here. So we've taken 50% of our feet off the floor, but our base of support shrinks by much more than 50%, right? It's not just going to be here. Our base of support, we've eliminated it to just the outline of our foot. So that's almost, you see where the red line is here, it's like 75% less space that we have to play around in. So poses like triangle that we're going to work with. We'll work with a couple other standing postures and perhaps even move a little bit. But just know that you can take 50% of your feet off the ground, and it's more than 50%. It's more than 50% less space. There's actually a small amount of space here that we can abide in our right side. So for the practice today, just know that you might fall. Breathing deeply can make you fall. We're going to do some movement practices. Everything can make you fall, but hopefully you can visualize where your center of gravity is in your foot, and notice that once your center of gravity kind of shifts, like if my center of gravity shifted over here, well then I would fall to my right. And for me, being able to visualize and understand that and put that into words, for me that's very helpful because I can explain where my challenges are in the practice. So I hope this little detour was interesting for you. Let's get started with our practice today. I could take the balance. Thank you. Okay, so let's get started. So please lie on your back. We'll start here. And take a moment to check in with your breath. And you can breathe into abdomen, continue breathing in the heart center. So you become more familiar with your breathing practice today. And from here, guide your awareness to your feet. So knees are bent, soles of your feet are flat on the floor. And first we're going to rock onto our heels, and then we're going to rock onto our toe mounds and lift your heels up. So go back and forth like this. Your heels are down, lift the front of your feet up. And then toe mounds come down, lift your heels up. And go back and forth like that. I usually inhale as I lift my toes. And exhale as I lift my heels. And go back and forth like this. So with curiosity, and the intention here is to really get our minds into our feet so we can visualize where our base of support is and visualize where our center of gravity is. And so to do that, it's really helpful to commune with the feet. So one last time here. Inhale, big exhale, and then place your feet flat on the floor. Take a moment to notice. So we rock from front to back. Now we're going to rock onto the right sides of our feet, which may feel a little counterintuitive, but if you're a skier, this is going to feel a little bit familiar. So it's like you're digging in the right sides of the blades, the skis. So that's one inner and one outer foot, and then exhale, the footfall is on the ground, and then you try that on your left. So it's one inner and outer, the left sides of your feet, and then you exhale, the entire foot falls on the floor. And this is probably not a big move. And so you're noticing where your base of support is, inside, outside feet. And also notice the ability for you to move your ankles. And once the ankles stop moving, the tendency is for the knees to take over, because you could totally do this like almost exclusively by sliding your knees back and forth. And what I'd like you to do is inhibit that motion. So your thighs stay pretty still. Your knees stay pointing up. And you're going to rock back and forth. And this helps to wake up what's going to be your balancing muscles. When you're standing on one leg, these are the muscles that we use for standing on one foot. And so these muscles help keep our center of gravity within the base of support of one foot. So go back and forth like this a few times. So we're waking up, mobilizing ankles, so you feel inner, outer ankles. Go back and forth like this another couple times. Okay, and then press your footfall into the earth. Drive both feet down. And breath in. And exhale from here, feet together and knees out to the sides. So Baddha Konasana. So now the sole of one foot presses into the other. You press your heels into each other. press your big toe mound, which is not the toe itself. The toes are the sort of ether element of the feet. They're very directional. But it's right before foot becomes toe, the big toe mound, into one another. And as you inhale now, your toes are going to stay down and lift your heels. And then exhale, you bring your heels down. And now try your best on this one. Big toes, mounds stay together as you lift your toes up. And exhale, come back down. That's usually a bit more difficult for people. People usually have more tibial rotation externally. And you bring it back down. And then there's internal rotation of our tibia. And you go back and forth like this a few times. And dare to go slowly so you can really feel the muscles being stretched. You might feel the skin of your ankles being stretched. And all of that sort of stretching, releasing, and engagement helps take our mind, our awareness, our consciousness to our ankles and feet. So back and forth like this another few times. All right. Great. And then from there, you release. And again, soles of feet flat on the floor. Drive your feet through the floor. And as you inhale, you're going to peel your spine up off the floor. Breathe in. Top of your inhale is the top of your bridge. And then exhale, vertebrae by vertebrae, lower back down. So this is a vinyasa. The arms can stay relaxed. And as you lift up in the bridge, you're going to arch your back a little. Okay. As you exhale, try to lower as best you can, vertebrae by vertebrae. And as you're going through this movement, notice the footfall. All right? And some people may tend to want to stay onto the outsides of their feet, or I know for myself, my right foot tends to want to take over, predominate. So as best you can, feel both feet into the floor equally. Press your feet down and press the entire footfall into the floor. And go back and forth like this a few more times. Exhale, you come down to the floor. Inhale, you lift up into your bridge pose. And repeat this another few times. Okay, very good. Hips land onto the floor. One more kind of focus on the feet here on the back. Just press both feet into the floor. Take a deep inhale. Big exhale. Okay, very good. And then let's come up to seated. This is cross-legged. So it's Sukhasana. We'll take our right shin in front of our left. So I'll face the front of my mat. So right shin in front of the left, and slide your sitting bones back. Take a deep breath in, and then as you exhale, you either stay here. I'm looking for a stretch on outer legs, outer hips, or if you want to forward fold a bit, you can do that. If it's in your practice, you go a little bit further. And as you reach forward, breathe into your low back. Several times here. Make sure your joints feel safe, sacrum, low back. And as you inhale, make your way back up. And from here, you're going to reach your right arm up in the air. Take a deep breath in. And then exhale, you're going to lean to the left so your left hand can come down. And as you lean to the left, roll your belly up a little. So what this is going to do is get the right side of your spine nice and long. And then breathe into your right ribs. Breathe into your right kidney space. another time or two here. Take a deep breath in. Big exhale. And one last time, breath in. Okay, great. Exhale, come back from there. And then let's switch the lacing of legs. So left leg in front of right. You're going to lengthen up through navel. Take a big inhale here. Exhale from there, forward fold. And how far forward? That's between you and your hips, your low back. As you reach forward, breathe back. Breathe into lumbar spine. A few breaths here. Great. So from here, you're going to make your way back up. Take an inhale upright. Lift your left arm up in the air, and we'll tilt it over to the side. So your right hand can come down. We're shortening our right side, lengthening our left side, and breathe into your ribs, breathe into your low back, kidney space, down your left. Okay, and one last time here. Take a deep breath in. Okay, great. And release from that. And let's come up to hands and knees and immediately enter into downward facing dog. So you plant your hands. You can start with your knees bent. Knees bent, and really get the toes, your toes, as wide as you can. So like first toe, I always like push my first toe down, and then I stretch the smaller toes away from them. So some distance between first and second toe. It helps get the sole of your feet wide as well as long. And then from there, spread each set of toes out wide, and then from there, press your heels back. Press your heels back, and lift your sitting bones up. So this will give you as much stretch as you'd like in the hamstrings, the calves. Breathe into the belly. Drive your hands through the floor, and then try to lengthen both side bodies by sending your upper thighs back. And we'll try breathing here a few more times. Okay, take a deep breath in. All right, great. And then exhale, knees down. Okay, and now we're going to build up to a sequence starting with gate pose. So for this sequence, I'm going to mirror you. Just so you know, I'll be talking through your right side while demonstrating on my left, but hopefully it looks familiar to you. So your left foot flat on the floor, and you take the block to the inside of your left thigh. Okay. All right. The right knee is on the mat. If you need more support than the mat provides, feel free to put a blanket or a pillow down. And then from here, right hand, you roll the belly to the right. You reach your right arm up overhead, and then exhale, fold past your left thigh. So this is a big stretch down your right side. Take a huge inhale down your right. And the tendency is for the heart and the belly to kind of fall toward the floor. So you can roll the belly to the right and up. It's almost like you're trying to spin your lungs back and up as well. So 2 more breaths into your right side. Take a deep breath in. Big exhale. And one last time. Take a deep breath in. Okay, great. And then top hand back to hip. You come all the way up. Take both knees to the ground. Okay, great. And then let's switch sides. So you're going to step your right toes to the right. Okay, put the block down. And you can take the block to the inside of your front foot, your right foot. Left hand can go to belly. The tendency is going to be to want to fall. So we're going to go opposite. We're going to roll the belly to the left and up, lungs roll to the left and up, and then reach your arm first up and then over. Okay, so this is modified gate pose, Parigasana, and you're breathing to your left side as much as you can. So stretch out. It's like you're trying to stretch out the pose with the power of your breath. Okay? So the stretch does some, the breath does some. So deep inhale left. And one last time here, breathe in. All right, and then top hand back to hip. Come back up. Right knee comes to the floor again. This time we'll take the block so that when you extend your left leg, now I'm going to move over a little bit. So when you extend your left leg, the heel's on your mat and the big toe mound is on the block. Okay? So this gives you a sense of your footfall from your heel to your big toes. Okay? This is going to be more of a stretch for hamstring and inner leg. You're going to take your hands to hips. All right? And you're going to cut this hip back, your left hip back just a little bit, and then take your hand down to the leg somewhere. Right hand can go to belly, and you're going to roll your navel up, reach your top arm up and overhead. And as you roll your lungs up, breath gets into the right, mind's eye down your left leg and into your foot. Can you press your heel into the mat? And can you also press your big toe mound right here? Can you press your big toe mound into the block? And 3 more breaths here. Take an inhale. Big exhale. Breath in. Big exhale. And one last time, breath in. Okay, great. Hand to hip, come all the way back up, and you release. You can take the block to the other side of your mat. And I'll move over a little bit. You'll extend your right leg out to the block, so your right heel is on the mat, and that big toe mound is pressing into the block. Okay. So from here, you can take your hands onto your hips. There's a little bit of a sort of a tuck of right hip underneath the left hip. Helps lengthen through the hamstring and inner thigh. Right hand goes to wherever it goes. Left hand to belly. You can roll the belly and your heart up. Reach your arm overhead. Huge inhale here, and then you take a side bend, Parigasana, and breathe into your left side a few times. So we're opening the side bodies because the side bodies really give us a sense of where we are in space. That's going to help us during our balance challenges during this practice. So breathe into the left side. Roll your heart up toward the ceiling. And the breath is out down the left side. Mind's eye to the sole of your right foot, the foot that's on the block. Press that heel into the mat. Press your toe mounds into the block. So you get a sense of where you can put your balance. And there's 2 more breaths here. Take a big inhale. Take a big exhale. And one last time, breath in. Okay, great. Top hand to hip. Inhale, come up all the way. All right, now let's come to standing, please. All right, so those are variations of gate pose, but really they're analogs of the next two poses. Starting with a wider stance, we're going to get into side angle, which starts out as a warrior 2, essentially. Okay, so you bend your left knee and take the block to the inside of your foot. This arm is now going to inhibit this front leg from coming inward, from dumping inward. Okay. So from there, you drive your left foot in through the floor, roll your belly up toward the ceiling, reach your arm up overhead and by your ear. So, whereas in the last 2 practices we focused on the sideline of our ribs and low back, now we get a chance to check out our right side all the way down to your right outer heel. So you press the right outer heel down and really press ball of the little toe mound down. So, because of course the big toe is just going to be down. But the tendency for this pose is to want to collapse inward. So you're going to really press like that outside edge of the ski. You press pinky toe side into the floor, roll your belly up, and let's pause here for a moment. Breathe into your right side several times here. And my eyes are up, but your eyes can totally stay down for your balance assist. And 3 more breaths here, focusing mind's eye on the back heel. Try to press that outside edge of the back heel down just as much as your inside. And the little toe mound down as much as your big toe. So you get to know your footfall. Take a deep breath in. Big exhale. And one last time, breathe in. Okay, great, hand to hip. You can take your block with you as you come up through warrior 2 legs, and let's switch sides. So bend your knees a little bit. Turn your right toes to the other side of the mat. And then from here, you bend your right knee forward. We start off in the warrior 2, Virabhadrasana 2. And please take the block to the inside of your right foot. And you take your hand down to the block. Okay? So that front foot presses into the floor. This arm inhibits your knee from collapsing in. Okay, so it's going to stay where it is. All right. And then from here, you're going to roll your navel up toward the ceiling. Roll belly up. Reach your top arm up overhead. And then swing it by your ear. Breathe down your left side. Okay, so this is a dynamic pose. There's a lot to think about. Breathe into the left side. And it's almost like you're breathing all the way down your left leg into your back foot. So again, your gaze can be wherever you want, but your inner vision, your mind's eye, goes to your back foot, that outer heel. Press it down into the floor as much as your inner heel, and toes. Can you press your little toe mound into the floor as much as your big toe mound? So you try to roll the outside of the foot down. The tendency is collapse here. So it's like you're lifting your inner arch by pressing the outside of your foot down. And then it's like you're trying to breathe into your back outer heel. 3 more breaths here. Big inhale. Big exhale. Take a deep inhale. Exhale. And one last time, breath in. Okay, great. Top hand to hip. Press into your hip, and you make your way back up into the warrior 2. Come back up to standing. Shorten your stance. Triangle is next. So you're going to start by turning your left toes to the one edge of the mat. This time I'm going to take the block to the outside of your shin. And you can have it at whatever level. I'm going to demonstrate on the top level, but you can lower yours if you'd like. From here though, big toe mound presses up front. If you can press the big toe mound, you now can lift your arch and provide some stability to your foot. So the toe mound is down and you lift your arch up your leg. Okay? Back foot, the tendency is collapse. So from here you can focus on pressing that outer foot into the floor. And you can float all the toes. Remember, there's like more ether quality. They're not too load bearing. Roll your belly up toward the ceiling. Reach your arm up skyward. And you reach your top arm over your head, close to your ear. And breathe down your right side. Okay? And focus on the footfall here. So even though there's a lot of energy ascending, the bones of your feet drive down and descend. And you can press into the floor and become familiar with your base of support. And 2 more breaths here. Inhale. Big exhale. One last breath in. Okay, great. From here, hand up to hip. You can carry the block with you as you come up to standing. Bend your knees a little bit, switch sides. So now your right toes are pointing at the edge of your mat. Again, I'm going to demonstrate block at top level. You go wherever you go, as long as it feels okay. All right, great. So the tendency for this front foot is to sink onto the outside, which is why I'm having you focus on pressing that big toe mound down. So it's like there's a button here. You're trying to push the big toe mound to the button. That helps sturdy up your arch. It's almost like you're trying to lift your arch up your inside leg. And then you roll your belly up, okay? Back foot, the tendency is collapse. So you're gonna press the outside edge of your back foot into the floor. Toes themselves, again, can lift a little bit, okay? And then you press the bones of your feet down, roll your belly up, reach your arm up and overhead, and then ventilate down your left side. Yeah, and 3 more breaths. Inhale, big exhale, bones of your feet down, energetically lift, inhale, big exhale, and 1 last breath in. Okay, great, hand to hip, inhale, bring your block with you. You can come upright. All right, and then you can come to standing. And let's take a Tadasana. I like to take the block in between thighs. So if you do practice with your feet together, obviously this is not going to be possible for most people with the block. But let the block determine how wide your feet are. And then when you squeeze the block, you're going to feel your inner legs work. From there, float your toes a little bit, spread your toes, lay them back down on the mat. Okay, so mountain pose. So I drew on the whiteboard, I drew the base of support. So in your Tadasana, your focus could be, where is that dot in your base of support? Where is your center of gravity? And you can sort of follow me on this one. If you go to the left a little bit, you can imagine that dot entering inside your left foot. You imagine, so if you go too far over, that dot falls to the outside of the left foot and you wind up about to fall, right? So we have to fall out of that, okay? But you're in your left, and then let's come back to center, Tadasana. The dots are square in between the feet, and let's try that on the right side. So you feel the dot. Imagine where your center of gravity is. Is it to the inside of the foot? Is it closer to the pinky toe side of the foot? You can sort of get onto the border, and the moment you sort of know you're outside your base of support is when you have to kind of stumble a little bit in order to save yourself from falling. And let's come back into Tadasana. Okay, from here, let's reach our arms up overhead. You can roll your elbows in for more support in the shoulders, and also that helps grab the side ribs so they can lift them up. Take a huge inhale here, then exhale, squeeze your block, and let's come down into chair pose. Okay. If you have to adjust your feet, make them shorter or wider to accommodate the block, go ahead, but we're going to squeeze the block and then drive the bones of your feet down. Try to lift your inner arches up your legs toward the block. All right. So we're adding a lot of fire to our legs. Mind's eye into the soles of your feet. Okay. In your chair pose, we're first going to rock back. Now don't fall back. We're going to rock back so that most of the weight is around the heels, and then you're going to rock forward so that now some of the weight has to be borne in the toes. And as a more advanced option, if the weight's in your toes, you can try lifting your heels, and then exhale, bringing your heels down. And maybe try that twice more. So you lift, and exhale, you lower, and you lift, and you exhale, lower. Great. Foot fall on the ground, press your hips forward to come up, and exhale. You can get rid of the block. All right, great. So we're now going to work on some one-legged balance practices. So this is where, if you'd like an assist, if you want to be near a wall for things like tree, or near a piece of furniture that's not going anywhere, feel free to relocate yourself. But from here, we're taking our Tadasana. So to get up into tree, you need to take that dot, that center of gravity, into your right foot. So let's do that. Drive the bones of your right foot down, lift your lungs up, and either A, you can focus on that center of gravity, keeping it within your right foot as your left toes are on the floor, if you'd like to. You can take it to ankle. If you'd like to, you can take it to shin. Bring your foot up where anywhere is fine with me. Just don't press your heel directly into your knee joint. Okay. Yogi's choice on the arms. There's several options. I'll demonstrate either hands on hips or Anjali Mudra. Okay. So now feel, and you don't have to look down, but mind's eye into your feet. And my hope is that you're feeling, now the foot has to go from inner to outer, and adjusting what's called the center of pressure to keep ourselves up. So notice the ankles doing that. Feeling the ankles going back and forth. Another 2 breaths. Don't forget to breathe, knowing full well that if you take a deep breath, you might fall out of this, which is fine. I might fall out of this during this video. Who knows? We'll see. Take a deep breath in. Okay, so then place your left foot on the floor. Take Tadasana. Does everyone feel the center of gravity between feet? Okay, great. So shift your weight to your left foot now. And feel that dot, that center of gravity in your left foot. Okay? And you know you're ready to balance is when you really don't need the right leg anymore. Okay? So you can either keep your right toes on the ground. Okay? Option number 2 is anywhere up the leg, except please don't press your heel directly into your the inner condyle of your knee. Below it, above it's fine, just not directly in. Okay? All right. So eyes can be wherever you want. Hands wherever you want. Your mind, your awareness is in the footfall. So notice your ankle, probably your hip as well. But really notice the ankle working back and forth, trying to keep your center of gravity, that dot, within the base of support. Okay? And push the bones of your feet down as you're trying to energetically lift, so you're lifting the skin of your foot up. Bones down, skin up. And there's 2 more breaths here. Great. And then from here, notice as you place your right foot on the floor, we come back into Tadasana. Now our center of gravity is between the feet. All right. Very good. So just take a breath or 2 and just really kind of just admire the feet. Admire your heels, admire your big toe, little toe mounds. Notice where they are in space. Notice where they are on your mat. So really good information. Okay. So option 1 is to just ignore this next practice and work on tree pose again. Option number 2, we're going to shift to our right foot. And instead of taking your left leg up along the inner leg somewhere, you're going to take your left ankle on top of your thigh. Okay? So from here, and hands, yogi's choice, wherever, out to the side's an option, hands on hips an option, okay? Anjali Mudra is an option. From here, you're going to take your hips back as you send your lungs forward. Now this is a movement, right? And that could totally throw you off. Okay? Moving in balance, definitely a challenge. So this doesn't have to be a fast move, does not have to be a big move. But as you're moving, mind's eye is on the foot, and notice your foot's attempts at keeping your center of gravity in the area of your foot. So 2 more breaths here. Okay, very good. And then you exit, plant. Very nice. Mind's eye to feet, drive your feet down, drive the bones of your feet down, lift your skin up. And then let's go over to the other side. So left foot into the floor. Okay. And once you're driving the bones of your left foot into the ground, take your other ankle on top of thigh. Okay. And hands, yogi's choice, whatever you want to do. All right. And then from here, so notice the ability of your foot to keep you in your base of support. And then from there, you're going to cut your hips Back a little bit, bend your standing leg, and you come back up. All right. And go back and forth like this. And again, the movement could be a couple degrees down, a couple degrees up. My demonstrations, I just need to make it big enough so everyone can see where you're going. You could come all the way down like heart towards shin, but totally not necessary. The point isn't how low you can go, the point is just to admire left foot and its efforts in keeping you upright. So let's try that 2 or 3 more times. And next time you come upright, land it, drive your feet down, and eyes open or closed, mind's eye into your feet. All right. Very good. Okay, great. So from here, please take your right foot to the top of the mat, left foot steps back, and you take your hands down into a lunge. So, you can now see the foot into the floor, drive your foot down. Oh, and if you do need a little bit of support here, with your right foot forward, I would say take your left hand to the block, okay? So, and I am not mirroring now, by the way. So, right foot forward, drive that foot down, left toes, press the toes down, press your heel back, okay? And as you inhale, you're gonna lift your hips up, and as you exhale, press your hips down. And go back and forth like this a few times. Inhale as you lift, exhale as you press your hips down. And even through this movement, mind's eye is on, and actually, well, your actual eyes, bones press into the floor of this is front foot. So a lot of focus on the footfall of the front foot. Okay, great. And then from there, you can step up, bent knee forward fold, pause there for a bit. Drive your feet down. You can lift your thighs up toward the ceiling and press the bones of your feet down as you lift the skin of your feet up. Okay, great. If you're using it, you can switch the block to the other side. Step your right foot back. Okay, so now the left foot is up front. All right, and then float your toes a little bit. Drive the bones of your left foot down. Back toes, press down, press your back heel back. Okay, and then as you inhale, you're going to lift your hips up toward the ceiling. And then as you exhale, you press your hips toward the floor. If you need the block, that's great. If you don't, that's great. So, and this is a big movement. We are loosening the hips for a vinyasa sequence that's coming up. That's going to include Warrior 3. So, but the mind's eye can be on the front foot. So feel the footfall. Drive your front heel into the ground. Drive your big toe, little toe mound into the ground. The idea here is like firmament through movement. Okay, great. And then back foot meets the front foot. We're at Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, you can come up a little bit, bend your knees as much as you need to, and exhale, forward fold. Drive both feet through the floor. Lift your inner thighs up toward the ceiling. And breathe a few times. Feel the footfall. Actually, even here, you can shift your weight to the right foot. Shift your weight to the left foot. And just feel the weight transfer. And if you can visualize where that dot is, where your center of gravity is. Okay. And then bring your center of gravity right in between your feet. Inhale, come all the way up to standing. All right. Great. So pyramid is next. I'll demonstrate it with a block. Your right foot's going to stay forward. Step your left foot back. This time your left toes turn diagonally out to the side somewhere. And like we worked on in triangle and side angle before, the tendency of the back foot is for the inner arch to collapse. So you're going to focus the back foot, press the outer heel into the floor, and that will firm up the leg. Okay? Bend your front knee a little bit, turn your hips to the top of the mat, and let's take your block down. I'll demonstrate at the top level. But you know, if you want to take your hands to the ground or whatever, that's fine. Okay? And if you have two blocks, you can also use those, but I'll just use one block. So from here, the more intense this stretch gets up front, the more your front foot's going to want to kind of sag out to the side. So press that big toe mound into the floor so you get the footfall down. You keep the full expression of your foot on the floor. Okay? You keep the big toe mound down, slide your right hip back a little. Inhale here, and then exhale. If you'd like to round your spine, you totally can. But even though there's a whole bunch of work happening in the upper body, the bones of your feet stay rooted. Okay? Now, as a balance challenge, you can always take both hands to hips. There's other variations as well for the arms, but I'll demonstrate that. So you press your feet down. Notice the efforts of your ankle, especially front ankle, to keep yourself in balance. Okay? So the big toe mound roots. The foot might vacillate a little bit from side to side in an attempt to keep you upright. And 2 more breaths here. Take a big inhale, big exhale, and breath in. Okay, great. And then from here, you drive your front foot into the floor. Inhale, come up, and step up to the top of the mat. All right, very nice. Pyramid on the other side, so please step your right foot back. Okay. If you're using a block, go ahead and place it to the inside of your front foot, whatever level suits you. Back leg, press your outer heel down. The tendency is collapse. So you press your outer heel down. Okay, it helps lift your inner arch. Okay, and from here, front knee, you bend it a little to give your hips some options. And then you send your pubic bone back, lungs forward, and your right hand goes to the block, or if you don't need a block, that's fine. All right, so we're now going to focus on the left foot, which again, the tendency, especially if your IT band or hamstring is tight, the tendency is to unground the inside of the foot, which is going to make balancing near impossible. So you press your big toe mound down, that keeps your entire footfall on the floor, and you press the bones of your feet down as you slide your left hip back. All right, and your right hand can stay on the block or stay on the mat, or if you'd like, you can lift it up. And then from here, so now we're really concentrate on the footfall. So actively drive the bones of your feet through the floor. If you'd like to, you can roll the belly to the left and round your spine a little bit, but all that you're doing up top shouldn't supersede everything you're doing on the ground. So you feel the footfall. Drive your feet through the floor. And notice and admire your efforts of your lower leg and your feet trying to keep you upright. 2 more breaths here. Take a big inhale. Big exhale. Take a deep breath in. Okay, very good. And then you make your way back up. And exhale, step up to the top. All right, Tadasana. My hope is after every one of these more challenging practices, Tadasana feels not only easier, but like it makes more sense. And you have more language and more feeling to understand your mountain pose. Okay, and let's take a break from the one-leggeds. We're going to take a wide-legged fold. Drive your feet in through the floor. So on this one, tendency is if the feet are very weak, tendency is to drop in. It can also happen if they're very tight. So you press the outside edges of your feet into the floor. Also press your big toe mound into the floor. All right, so outside heels, inside foot kind of gives you this diagonal across the feet. It helps engage. And then from there, bend the knees as much as you need to. You can take your hands to the block or to the floor. All right, and so we're here. Your hands can be on the ground. Any other variation you like, hands on shins, hands on thigh, arms overhead, reverse namaste, whatever you want to do. But from here, your mind's eye is on your feet. So you drive your feet down, lift your thighs up as you press your feet down, and you can float your toes. So yeah, I know there's, like, you know this is, if this pose is all hamstring for you, right? This could be a ton of ton of calf, hamstring, low back. If you want to back off of it just enough that you can focus on the footfall, that'd be awesome. 3 more breaths here. So take a deep breath in, big exhale, breath in, big exhale. And one last time, take a deep breath in. Okay, exhale, you bend your knees a little bit, and inhale, and come all the way up, heel toe yourself in. All right, very good. So now we're going to work with it's a vinyasa that's going to transition between a lunge and potentially warrior 3. Okay, so I'm going to say everyone have their block at the top of the mat. And we're going to start right foot forward. This time your left leg goes back, but instead of the entire foot on the floor, it's just your toes. Okay? Back leg stays nice and strong. And from here you can reach your arms up. Okay? If that's too much, if the center of gravity kind of gets too high, you can always just keep your hands here. Right? But I'll demonstrate this. Great. Now from here, take a deep breath in, and exhale, you're going to reach forward. So if your hands were here, you can now reach forward and mind's eye into the front foot. Can you get that dot, the center of gravity, into the front of your foot? Now, if you need to, you can use your hands and either be on the block or be on the floor. Very lightly, though, as you drive the bones down and lift your back leg up. And I don't care if this leg is bent or straight. What's nice is to have the top leg nice and straight. Okay? Very good. So deep breath in, big exhale. If you'd like, you can just lift your hands up a millimeter. All right. If you want to try the handstand vinyasa in my bonus feature, go ahead and do that. And then from there, you bend the standing leg a little more and can, as slowly as you can, try to lower your back leg. Usually you have to reach forward for this as well. And then you come back up into a lunge, hands up or hands next to hips. All right, very good. And then from there, step up to the top. All right, let's try that on the other side, please. Right foot goes back. Okay, yogi's choice on hands. Whatever feels most intuitive, hips, overhead. All right, but no matter what your upper body's doing, just don't get caught in the details. Really, we're detail working front foot. You're driving that front foot into the floor. Now, you might feel that the ability for this foot to maintain balance is distinct from the first side. That's, I think, everybody, you and me and everyone we know. So you're going to drive the bones down. Okay? The block can be at the top of your mat if you'd like. And then from here, you're going to lean forward. I recommend reaching your arms forward to get the center of gravity, that dot, within the base of support of your front foot. And then from here, you're going to drive that front foot into the floor, press down to lift your back leg up. And now you're in a variation of Virabhadrasana 3, Warrior 3. Okay? Hands can be on the block. Okay? There's not a ton of weight here, though. This is for balance in case your center of gravity goes outside of your foot. So you can stop yourself from falling one way or falling the other way. But focus, mind's eye, if you're not actually looking at your foot, mind's eye driving the bones of your front foot down, and notice and admire your standing leg and what it's doing to keep you upright. Okay? Take a deep breath in. Take a big exhale. And one last time. From here, as slowly as you can, you bend the front leg. Reach your arms forward. Back leg comes down. You come up into your lunge, arms up or hands on hips. And then from there, let's come up to standing. All right. Great. So that was wonderful. I think if something's worth doing once, it's worth doing again. So this will be less instruction. You might do it once more per side, depending on how fast you'd like to take this, maybe twice more. But we went through it slowly once. Let's go through it a tiny bit faster. Try to not lose control. Right foot forward. You step your left foot back. Hands on hips or arms overhead. One breath here. Take a big inhale. Exhale from here. Reach your arms forward. Weight over the front foot. Drive your front foot into the floor and admire your foot, trying to not spill you over. Take a deep breath in, and then exhale. Bend your front knee. Back foot lands. Inhale, you come up. From there, you lean forward. Drive your foot into the floor. Come up to Tadasana. Switch sides. Other leg goes back. Hands on hips or arms overhead. Take a deep breath in. And hopefully you can visualize and experience as you inhale, you reach your arms forward. Hopefully the dot's in the front foot, right? You drive your foot into the ground and you lift your back leg. Virabhadrasana 3. Admire your ankle, perhaps your hips. Trying to keep you upright. Notice, notice, notice. Breathe as much as you can. Exhale, bend your front knee. Come back up to our lunge. Great. And then front foot drives through the floor to come up. Let's do that one more time. Move onto the first side. My left leg is back. Arms sweep up overhead. Take a huge inhale here. And then exhale, you're going to reach forward. The dot comes in the front foot. Drive the bones of your right foot down as your back leg bolts back. All right, and one breath here. Take a huge inhale. Exhale, bend your front knee. Back toes make contact. We're in Anjalayasana, a lunge. Step up. And same thing on the other side. With your left foot forward, arms overhead, or on your hips. Breathe in here, and then everybody reach your arms forward. Weight over the front foot, which means that dot's in your front foot. And you drive the bones of your foot into the floor. Lift up into your Virabhadrasana 3, Warrior 3. Take a deep breath in. Okay, and then you bend your standing leg. Back toes come down. Inhale up into lunge. And then let's all escape out of this into downward facing dog. Hands plant. Lift your inner thighs back up into the downward facing dog. All right. From here, lift your heels a little bit. Bend your knees and then lift your sitting bones a little higher. And we keep the sitting bones nice and skyrocketing as you bolt your heels back. So do your heels get to the ground? The answer is I don't know. Don't really need to, as long as they're pressing back. And then if you can, try to float the toes a little bit. And 2 more breaths here. Take a big inhale. Big exhale. And one last time. Okay, great. And then exhale, your knees come down. And come around to seated. All right. So yeah, congrats. Hopefully that felt, that footfall felt okay in the feet. I do want to do a couple pieces of abdominal work that are also a little bit of a balance challenge. So we're going to take our feet flat to the floor. If you have a block, I like using the block for this. So you take the block in between your thighs. All right. So we're upright. If your hamstrings and lower back are really tight, the tendency is going to be for you to round the spine on this one. So we haven't really worked on it in like this week, but you're going to arch your back. So draw your sacrum in to lift. Now, with all that effort going up, notice what happens to your sitting bones. They get on the floor, right? As opposed, this is tailbone on the floor. If you arch your back, you get the sitting bones down. And that's what we're going to try to balance on, okay? So you're going to reach your arms forward. And this might be enough for you. Squeeze your block. Okay. Arch your back and lift your lungs up. And then from here, as you're arching your back, you're going to lean your head back a little and notice the center of gravity. It's going to start crawling right around the sitting bones, and your feet get lighter and lighter and lighter, and it may be that you can just lift your feet up for a moment. Okay? Now, breathe, arch your back, breathe as much as you can, squeeze the block, and notice your core does not only have to keep your legs up, it has to keep your torso up, and it has to try to keep you in balance. So it's multitasking a lot, but those muscles can multitask. We're focused on the balance. Now it's not foot fall, now it's like sitting bone fall. Where's the imprint of your sitting bones on your mat? So take a deep breath in, and then exhale, lower your feet, come back down. Great, so that's option number 1. Option number 2, you get right back up into it. So let's try it again. Let's get into Navasana, boat pose. This is everyone's favorite pose. You squeeze your block. All right, arch your back a little bit. If you can, extend your legs. All right, and then inhale, open your toes, and exhale, point your toes and squeeze. And take a deep breath in, open your toes. Exhale, squeeze the soles of your feet. 3 more times. Inhale, big exhale. Twice more, breath in, big exhale. And one last time, breathe in. Point your toes. Okay, come back down. Woo! Awesome. So, let's lie on the back. Okay, so this is, we were here quite a long time ago, like 50 minutes ago. So we're on our backs. You're going to drive your feet through the floor. So mind's eye still to the feet, and notice that like there's almost no way to fall out of this, right? Because our base of support is more or less our whole body. But you can still imagine the feet, the bones of your feet driving into the ground. And then you inhale, lift your hips up in the air. And exhale, lower down. And try that a few times. And my hope is that after all the work we've done during our standing sequence, that there's a lot more intelligence in your feet. That you can really feel like the details of where your feet are bearing weight into the floor. So can you visualize between your feet, the base of support in your left foot and the base of support in your right foot? And one last time. Breath in. Okay. Great. Okay, and so from here, some of you might need a strap for Anantasana. So we're going to lie on our side. Obviously, we'll do both sides, so it doesn't matter which side you're lying on. We're going to lie on our side, and your bottom leg, you press that heel out. Bottom leg, foot presses out, and in order to keep us balanced, the entire foot has to be on the floor as best you can. Okay? So if it's relaxed, it's going to be harder to balance. You'll see in a second. So you're going to press the outside edge of the bottom foot into the floor, engage your whole lateral line, and your bottom arm can either be in front of you. For a balance challenge, reach back. So now we have a whole long line on the ground. Top leg, either take your peace fingers and hold your big toe, or you can always take a strap around your foot. So I'll demonstrate the strap. And you're going to press your heel up toward the ceiling as you try to roll your belly down a little. Okay? Now, I'm already in the more advanced option. Do you see what a long, thin line I have to balance on? So now your whole body is probably, I don't want to make assumptions, but possibly shaking. It's not because we're tired, it's because we're trying to stay in balance. So this is really good. It's trying to take what we've learned from our feet and to sort of macroscopically apply it to our whole body. So eyes can be wherever you'd like. You're going to press your heel up. And if you wind up falling over 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times, you can take your arm out. You see how that's going to give you much more of a base of support. But to take it by your bottom ear, there's the more advanced challenge. And just admire your body and its efforts to stay up. And 2 more breaths here. Okay, great. And then you can release the toe or remove the strap. All right, and try the other side. So your foot's nice and long, this bottom leg. Okay. Option number 1, arm out where you can see it. And either peace fingers, take hold of your toe. You can press your heel up. Or if you'd like to use the strap, you can go ahead and do that. Okay. So bottom arm, this is going to give you a big base of support. Okay. So that'll give you time to kind of get used to the feeling. If you've done this pose a couple times before or just want the challenge, you reach your arm by your bottom ear. All right, and as best you can, you try to keep the bottom leg pressing into the floor, particularly the outside edge of your bottom foot. So heel drives up in the air, belly rolls toward the floor. And again, we're shaking not because we're exhausted, but it's really this awesome interplay between our nervous system, figuring out where we are, and our motor system, trying to figure out what to do about it. So it's really this big communion between our sense perceptions and our responses. Yeah, relax your face, keep on breathing, another 2 or 3 times here. Okay, great. You can let go of the leg, release it to the floor. All right, and let's lie face up. All right, great. So our base of support's pretty huge right now. We're going to take our right leg up in the air for Supta Pada 1. And I would hold your strap or your belt with both hands, because this is one last exercise for the ankles. So you're going to hold it like you were holding reins of a horse. You're going to press your heel up consistently, and then turn the sole of your foot inward, and then turn the sole of your foot outward. And go back and forth like this a few times. If you have had a history of ankle sprains, take this one very gingerly and mindfully. So these muscles did a ton of work in this practice. And this is just giving them a bit of a stretch out before final relaxation. Okay, great. And then from there, release your right leg to the floor. Pause there before we do the other side. Mind's eye into right foot. You can move your toes around, ankles around, or just let it drop. Okay, great. And other side, please. Take your left leg up in the air. Strap around your foot, around the toe mounds. And you're going to press your heel up. And the heel presses up consistently as you turn your sole of the foot inward. And you turn the sole of your foot outward. And so some of this work can be done by your hands because you're holding the strap like that. So your arms can facilitate this. And part of this work could be done with the muscles of your ankle. So after a practice full of like very, very sort of constant change of situation, the muscles have to adapt like every moment. Now they get a chance to release and relax. Okay, great. So from there, you're going to release, left leg to the ground, and relax your eyes open or closed. You can move your left toes around, move your ankle around. All right, great. And then so interlace your fingers, press your palms by your ears, and press your heels in the opposite direction. So one big body stretch. Send out the left side of your body, the right side of your body in equal measure. Breathe into both sides of your body. Okay, great. And then let's release and relax into Shavasana, our final relaxation. And this is going to be a slightly shorter Shavasana, but hopefully it feels just as interesting and helpful. So we did a lot of staying up in our practice. Invite yourself to settle down. So feel the weight of your bones. Feel the weight of your musculature. Drop your skin toward the floor. And really feel all the effortful practice that we've done infuse. Have it soak in. Have it percolate inward. If there's any gentle movements, releases that you need to do, go ahead. And as you recount the balance practice, maybe you felt you've done a great job, maybe there's room for improvement. So really let that go, and just remember that this is all play. The title of today's practice comes from an Emily Dickinson poem where the last two lines are, "It takes me all the while to poise, and then it doesn't stay." It takes me all the while to poise, and then it doesn't stay. And so, this could happen in all aspects of our life. As a microcosm, it could happen when we try to stand on one foot, or if we try for a couple arm balances. Just know that if you fall, you can always get back up and try again. Okay. So from here, take a deeper inhale and exhale. Guide a breath through your hips, down your legs into your feet. Guide a breath through your shoulders, down your arms like you're breathing into your palms. Guide a breath into your brain, along inside skull. And exhale down your face. Great. And then please draw one knee into your chest. Give your knee a good hug. Sweep a breath across your low back. And then switch sides. Other knee draws in. And then draw both knees in. Take an inhale, curled up into a ball. And exhale, roll over onto your side. And you can make your way up to a comfortable seat. All right, and in your seated position, notice your base of support. Admire your base of support. And even as you relax down, there's also a gentle lift. All right, great. So thank you much for your practice. Enjoy the rest of your day. If you have any questions, feel free to send me an email. I would love to answer them. And in the meantime, stay well, be safe, and have a good one. Namaste.